Hi, everybody. So I've been working on campuses. So the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression used to be the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, and we exclusively focused on free speech and academic freedom on American college campuses. So that's all I've been doing for almost my entire career. And throughout my entire career, some of the least fun issues to get involved in on campus were anything related to Israel-Palestine. It was definitely something where nobody, thought the other side had a point. It was always incredibly nasty. No one was willing to be the slightest bit reasonable. And this past year, of course, these have gone into the stratosphere in terms of cases. And I have been asked, so how do you, how do you handle, the situation on campus with anti-Semitism? And the thing that I, always have to say is that I'm not Jewish, but in terms of, and I actually appreciated this. There's a person on X, who I'm not going to mention, who likes to hurl accusations and then erase them. And he decided that me and my co-author, Jonathan Haidt, who I co-authored Coddling the American Mind with, have suddenly succumbed to this idea that there's an anti-Semitism problem on college campuses. And I was like, and he called it a psyop, but I'm like, what, like a Mossad psyop? Like, what are you getting at here? Because I've known this for a long time, particularly being plugged into campus. Now, I don't think every campus has this, but it's particularly prevalent in the rich kids' schools, elite higher ed, and also weirdly in almost all of California. I don't totally get why that is. And I remember, this really became clear to me that we weren't just talking about Israel, issues. We were talking about something that went beyond that. When I spoke at the 50th anniversary of the free speech movement at Berkeley. And the thing that got totally taken over by the activists, in the crowd, they would just sort of dominate and not let the panel talk. And I'm like, holy shit, is that what they meant by free speech back then? But there was this one guy who was kind of like, and sometimes they start calling you anti-Semitic just for what you say about the Jews, but we can all agree that the poison hand of Zionism destroys all it touches. And I was like, okay, dude, you're an anti-Semite. And I've seen a ton of this. And I live in left circles, and I see things that I'm kind of like, okay, the criticisms you're making, first of all, you don't make this for any other country in the entire world. You don't seem to know about any other country in the entire world. And you're now falling into Jewish stereotypes of them secretly controlling the world, so congratulations. But FIRE is a genuinely principled free speech organization. So we have defended pro-Palestinian. It doesn't matter. It doesn't give a damn if I'm a little bit more sympathetic to Israel. We defend the pro-Palestinian freedom of speech and unapologetically and always. But since October 7th, it has been an interesting spectrum of protected, that's protected, that's offensive, that's protected, that's offensive, that's protected, from the river to the sea. Something that when Jewish students hear that, they hear maybe you're trying to eliminate the entire country. When actually interviewed, it turns out the kids had to ask what river, what sea. They actually didn't even know what the implications of what it meant. And when they were instructed what it could mean, they got a little more uneasy with it. That's protected speech. What's not protected is grabbing Jewish students, assaulting them, blocking them from getting to different parts of campus, threatening them certainly is not protected. And so we've pointed that out, ever since basically October 8th about the many things that the pro-Palestinian students were doing that was not protected. But at the same time, when it is free speech, we protect the pro-Palestinian professors and students. But here's one thing that I think everyone should know. They appreciate our protecting them, and guess who's responsible for 100% of the shout-downs on campus since October 7th? The pro-Palestinian students. And I'm willing to call that out every damn time, because it's like, wow, you demand free speech for you, but you don't want to give it to anyone else. And by the way, 2023 was the worst year for deplatforming, which includes shout-downs, in history, to our knowledge. And this year is probably going to blow it out of the water. It hasn't quite yet, but it's probably gone in the last couple months. And it's driven by pro-Palestinian students, including one circumstance, probably my favorite example, being a science nerd, was a Jewish professor tried to give a lecture on black holes. And yeah, I mean, it sounds awesome. And the pro-Palestinian students shut it down because apparently this guy was like pro-Israel as well. And the thing is, I have to, like, when people make this it's just a dumb argument, that hecklers' vetoes are sometimes okay because it's just more speech. I'm like, no, you're acting like, for people who call everyone else fascists, like, you are acting like them. You are showing up and saying, because I don't approve of you, none of you are allowed to hear them. That is mob mentality, that's authoritarian, and it can't be tolerated. And so I wish this, on American college campuses, that particularly when these students engage in violence, I wrote this for the Free Press, when they engage in violence in response to free speech, they need to be expelled. Oh, I have 1 minute left. I thought I'd just end on that note.
Oh, well, fun.